Welcome, welcome, welcome to round 8 of the Race Spec Pacific Endurance Saturday Night League, and we are here at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. What a track. I think it's my favourite track out of all the tracks that we have on the calendar, and this week with me in the combox I have Josh. He is back in his role of co-commentator with me. How are you doing, Josh?
Pretty good. Yes, I do consider you must be a bit of a traditionalist. All of these tracks you like, Spa, you like Suzuka.
Yes, I do love those old school tracks, but yeah, the two big braking zones coming in, two big overtaking zones, even on the Camel Straight and around the last corner, I froth over those overtaking spots, and I think it's going to have a cracking race today. How's everybody doing in the chat? I know that we've got Ferrari Pro out there, and I just want to give a quick shout out to him. He stepped into your shoes last weekend, Josh, and did a fantastic job on his debut commentating. So good shout out there for Ferrari Pro.
Excellent, awesome.
Alright, let's get all this telemetry stuff up and going, and if anybody is watching / listening racing, we would absolutely love to know what the weather is going to be like for the actual race. Will it be wet or will it be dry? I'd say it's quite a high chance of wet at around good old drizzly Belgium.
Yeah, there's a high chance, especially for the race. Often, you know, a little bit of interest can creep in at the start or the end of the race. If you get super lucky, you might get wet stints in the middle, which is always extremely entertaining. A couple of drivers going out on the medium tyre. Oh, one less than originally was there, but Tinselman going out in the mediums. Interesting choice considering we've only got 16 drivers on the grid today. But maybe that's part of the idea to hopefully start top 10 on the hopefully better strategy.
Yes, Ferrari Pro. He kept those shoes. Are they nice and warm? Those shoes from Ferrari Pro from the from last week's commentary, Josh.
Oh, of course.
Toasty. Toasty. Perfect. That's how we were warmed up straight away and ready to go. Hey, Buster, how are you doing? Good to have you with us again. So, yes, Dan the Racer, first on the track, and it's always interesting as well to see what people decide to go with the setups on this track, whether they choose to do just really try and go for the absolute lowest possible downforce for the straight line speed on the straights, or they decide to go with a bit more of a higher downforce to make sure they can optimize that middle sector as best as possible. I personally prefer going for the low downforce and to aid the overtaking.
And I'm the opposite. I go with the high downforce so I don't crash into a wall. But you know, it's all different for all of us. But that's the thing. You know, you probably can actually put, you know, faster times in with that higher downforce, but overtaking and defending just becomes impossible, really. So yeah, it's really easy to defend on the straights with that low downforce setup as well. Yeah,
and we've got quite a few drivers out on the medium tyre, so that kind of indicates to me that maybe it's going to be a dry session all the way around, as we see our first car about to go off in a flying lap. And what we're going to talk about quite a lot probably in qualifying is corner names. We're going to create some lovely controversy as Dan the Racer goes a little bit wide down into La Source. Very important to get a good exit out of that, as you're going to carry that speed all the way through Rouge Radion and down the Camel Straight. Oh, he's gone really almost lost the end going up the hill there, and somehow manages to save that. Excellent, great skills there. Big balls from Dan the Racer. That'll give him a nice get his heart going at the start of this session. Let's follow on then with someone on a flying lap.
After you do that in the first lap, it's hard to go flat out through that corner when you make a mistake on the first time.
Yeah, so he's going to have a cool down and go again as we see Zach coming through the Lafania chicane round Malmedy. We're going to be using all of the corner names rather than corner numbers. Down into Rivage. We are going to call this corner Rivage. Some people call it Bruxelles, but we're going to go with the Rivage because we're going to call no name Bruxelles coming around on that curb there. Very easy to lose it on that inside curb. Now he comes down to Pouon. We're going to use Pouon instead of the other crazy name that the Belgians gave it a long time ago. Holds it nicely in 7th gear there, so straight away hot on the pace into Piff Paff and the Lafanier chicane. Piff Paff, good shout out for Piff Paff. Yes, that is a real corner name. Down into Stavilo. Gets a little bit on that inside curb, but managed to just keep it going, and now through onto the back part of the track into Sector 3. Coming around the Paul Frere curve here in 8th gear, and trying to keep as much speed as he can, and through Blanchimont taking the path of least resistance, scrubbing off a little speed, and we're going to go into the bus stop chicane now, and slows down into 2nd gear, very aggressive on those curbs, and off he goes. First lap of the day, a 43.2.
Really good. Straight into the 43s, so that's a really great time. Well, you might notice that Blanchimont doesn't really look like a corner at all. It is, because it's flat out in F1 cars, even in the wet, it's completely flat out as well. So, but for pretty much every other type of racing, it is a proper lift, and in some things even a braking zone. So that's why it is a corner.
Indeed, yep, and it's so important just to not scrub off any speed around the corner. Every little kilometre / miles per hour. Has he gone wide there? No, it's kept it in bounds, which is pretty amazing because he was 4 wheels off the track there. But yeah, trying to scrub as little speed as possible, because every little kilometre you can carry down there will count in the end.
Absolutely. There's the 2 big, long, straight sections. The exit onto those is so pivotal, especially in these quality laps. You know, you can gain or lose a lot of time, you know, being able to get a great exit on those.
See where Snickersbud comes in on the mediums of 45.6. Rid the Beans doing a fine lap there with a 44.2 on the mediums also. And who else have we got coming out? Dan the Racer is on his actual flying lap now. Quite a few cars still in the pits, just leaving a little bit late, seeing how things develop. Eye Contrast is also on his lap on the medium tyre, coming around the Lafanier chicane and into Stavilo now. Holding it through 4th gear, gets a nice exit through here. And heading over to the Paul Frere. So we'll see how his lap develops here. He's running very, very skinny on the fuel at the moment. As you can see, his fuel light flashing away there. So he's gone aggressive straight on that medium tyre and seeing what he can pump in terms of a time. Comes around the bus stop chicane now, and across the line does go Eye Contrast with a 43.7. So that's a very respectable lap there on the medium tyre. And Scotty with a nice lap.
Yeah, the medium soft here will make about 9/10 difference, if played right, of course. But you know, that strategy advantage. Obviously, this is a one-stop soft, medium, or medium soft. But being able to start through traffic on those mediums can be really advantageous.
Let's talk about this Red Bull livery a little bit, as here Alex Pato goes purple in the middle sector. What do you think of this white limited edition livery, Josh?
I don't mind it. I'm a bit of a fan. I love the rear wing. I reckon that looks great. The weirdest part is seeing blue dots go around on the track with a white car. But, I mean, I'm colorblind anyway, so you know it's mostly just grey. What can I do?
Yes, 100% mediums to soft. That is the strategy, the go. That's a very decent lap there from Alex Pato, putting him in P3. I personally not a fan of the white Red Bull. I think that if it had been released in Japan, as I believe it was meant to, with a bit more Japanese kind of themes and things, I think it may have looked a bit better. But honestly, I prefer the OG. No, dark.
That's very fair. And it's not the only controversial thing we'll be talking about, as we give 7 different names for each corner here, as is in true F1 tradition.
Yeah, we'll try and stick to the...
In all practice and quality sessions, all you must talk about is corner names.
Yeah, well, we want to get Piff Baff in as much as possible. My voice is echoing. Yeah, I had a feeling it was... Is it mine or Josh's? I had a horrible feeling that it was going to be doing that.
Is that a technical difficulty, potentially?
I'm not sure. I'm actually just checking the levels now, and it shouldn't be doing it. Yeah, if you can let us know, F194, whose voice it is, and then I can take a look at that
I'll mute myself and chat. Back in a moment.
Your voice. I presume he's talking about me instead of you. Yeah, there's a little bit of delay on the messages, so it's a little bit hard to tell who you're replying to. Tinselman out on the medium tyre at the moment. Ooh, we do love this camera angle, especially through Malmedy there. Very easy to go wide into that corner. I'll just apply this. It's okay, fellas. Apparently Buster backing us up there.
I just had to listen to it. I couldn't notice it at the moment.
Yeah.
But
it might be the other person. Okay, the other person being Josh. I think just the space that he's in might be a little bit. You hang some carpets in your room. Yes, you.
too much carpet in here already. It's because I'm using this lovely 2013 microphone that's just built into the computer. Nothing special at all. So yeah, I'm a bit a boomy. Maybe I should cover myself in a blanket.
Anyway, yes, Tinselman, I don't know, it's a bit echo. Okay, sure. Well, I'm not, unfortunately, probably won't be able to get that fixed at the moment, but I'll definitely look at finding out exactly what the issue is. Thank you for that feedback there for 94. Yep, he is echoing.
Yes, thanks for letting us know. Maybe we'll sort out my microphone for next time. I've got an audio interface, just haven't bothered to plug it in.
He should whisper. Anyway, let's get back to the commentating. We're getting actually, you know what? I'm going to put up the standings for you guys at home so you can see what the current table is sitting at. Last race results we had. I'll just rattle those off there. Oh, we don't have the last race results. That's not handy. They're still yet to be updated. So either way, it's very close at the top of the board there between Eye Contrast and Plevs. Only 8 points separating them currently. Scotty still keeping touch in third place there, and then there's a bit of a jump down to the. I think we're gonna. Unless something dramatic happens, I think it's going to be between those guys right at the top there, down to the wire. Plev's finally out on track there also. And, yeah, it's very, very tight in that midfield. Zach JW leading it by 10 points over the Tinselman. He's going to be looking for a good finish today. And Ferrari Pro also just... Crazy Kiwi and then Ferrari Pro. Honest Crow, Combat Wombat also very tight in that midfield section there. So we'll just...
Right. We do have a lot of drivers in this league, a lot of reserves, all the way down to 36. So obviously the points are stacking up at the top of the table, and then it kind of spreads out throughout. But yeah, 3 main contenders, all still very much in at the halfway point of the season.
Yeah, I'm just fiddling around with some audio things. I was just checking to see... Trying to find out where that echo is coming from, and just messing up with some settings and see maybe if that will help a little bit. Okay, yes, back on track action there. Plevs P1 at the moment by 1/10 of a second with a 42.7, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Eye Contrast is happy with that position in 5th there. Championship rivals, I mean, he doesn't want to be too far off the pace of Plevs. Plevs is going to gain a good advantage there, being so far ahead on the soft tyre, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he sticks with that. Dan the Racer still has not set a lap yet. It's not having a great time on track at the minute, but he's on a flying lap currently, and so we'll just run on board with this, see how this goes. Also yet to set a lap is Oz Formula now. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, maybe something to do with the similar mics. It shouldn't do that. I've set it up so it shouldn't do that, but then again, sometimes Streamlabs, what it does is just, for no absolute reason, just change my inputs, and potentially it could have changed an input without me realizing. So I'll just let you take just go through Dan the Racer as I muck around with some audio a little bit more. You there, Josh? We lost
I just
Josh.
realised I was speaking with my mute on that whole time. I was calling so well as well. Alright, so we'll have a look at this. Dan the Racer might be doing a double flyer. He's got enough airs, so let's take it through as if he is. going up through La Source. He's had to back off a little bit there, a little bit easy on the throttle through Radion and onto the Camel Straight. I am guessing, yeah, it's not on a fast lap, so Matty, maybe if you could take us across to...
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by...
No, that's
is Scotty on a flying lap? Okay, that potentially might have fixed it. Might have fixed it now, hopefully.
Oh, apparently the standings are still up, is that right?
Yeah, I've just... oh!
Scotty, off into the sides.
Down at Malmedy. I presume he's just gone off on the second Lacom through there. And just very, yeah. Some of these curbs are very, very high, and it's very easy to lose on the curbs of these swim swatches, especially if you're running a more aggressive suspension setting through here. And we've got another car who's gone off. Who? I wonder who.
I believe a Williams or an Alpine. A blue car.
Yeah. So he's got going again, which is good.
If you want to take us onto Rip the Beans, I can take us around on a lap there. I believe
See,
he's
about
just
starting now. Off you go.
Alright, so Rip the Beans going down into La Source braking just after the 100 meter board. He keeps it nice and tight and gets the throttle down on that exit. All the way down the hill and then up through Eau Rouge and Radion, nice and clean. Doesn't need to lift off at all there, it's all completely flat out. And it looks like we've had a retiree from the session, Dan the Racer, must have had a crash. He's got himself P7 at the moment. Braking about 75 meters, trying not to touch too much curb here because it can be a little bit of a spin, and getting the throttle down as early as possible there. It's really, really important. Downhill braking, we're already missing a brake marker on the left there, so that will be impacting some of the drivers with no assists. And then hitting this curb and then throwing the car across down Bruxelles, I believe. And here we go into Pouin. They're really using the width of that track there. You can see them using that part of the track that's not even there. Got traffic coming up. Might have put him off a little, but not too much of an issue. There's Piff Paff, everyone's favourite corner, through Fagné. And onto Stavelot, and starting the beginning of Sector 3. Alright, so looking pretty clean here. This is, so far, a pretty solid lap by Rip the Beans. As we come through Paul Frere and then Blanchimont. Blanchimont here. Can he keep it tidy for the bus stop chicane? Pretty good, taking as much curb as he feels is safe. Early on the throttle. And is a 1:42.8. Puts him P2, a really great lap. Improvement by 1.3 seconds on his previous lap. So that's a really excellent lap by Rip the Beans. Also pushes Eye Contrast down into 6th. Now this is when he would have been thinking, should I have stuck with those mediums or should I be on the softs? But he's going to be the person starting the highest up on that medium tyre. He'll have a couple of soft runners behind him. Looks like somebody just came in and put a lap, but I actually missed who it was.
Exos Formula, SHZ Jax out on the medium tyre. He's going to do that classic move of him, putting that final lap in right at the end of the session. So he loves putting himself under pressure here. Yeah, one lap wonder. He does have a... Oh, it looks like he's abandoned that lap. That's him. He's starting from... He'll be starting from the back then. As he... Yeah. That's a bit of a surprise.
Maybe he was on a flyer before that and had a...
Invalidation.
Invalidation.
Yeah, he's got the full battery, so that's a bit strange that he's decided to abandon that. Who else have we got coming around on the lap here?
F2 is on a hot lap.
It's going to be on a hot lap. The first...
Just slips through. He actually got a nice slipstream from Jax on the way down the Camel Straight, so it'll be interesting to see if that pays off.
Yeah, Honest Crook is going to be our first car to come across the line imminently. He's still choosing to go on the medium tyre, which is an interesting move there. Sitting down in P11 at the moment. Will he move up here? No, he sticks exactly where he is. Then we've got also Eye Contrast just finishing his lap. And Rip the Beans there, grabbing P1 at the moment. Can anybody challenge him currently? There is Alex Pater on that lap, as you said before. He's just coming around the bus stop chicane now to finish off. Where will he try to stick or just moves up to P5 there, gaining a couple of positions, dropping eye contrast down to P7. We've got a few more cars coming around the lap. We've got a Crazy Kiwi coming around the bus stop chicane. Also now finishing his lap on the soft tyre. Takes the position back from Alex Pater, moving up to P6. Zach JW, oh, he's gone round there, right at the end of the... Oh, here we go again. And he holds on to that P5. Scotty is finished. He's not on a lap, and that rounds off the qualifying there. Plev's also in the pits there. So, Rip the Beans taking pole. Another great qualifying from him. Yeah, he's been very hot on quali so far since he's joined into this tier. Just had a few unfortunate accidents in the race and such, and not managing to hold on to that position. But he's been very strong in the race.
That's right. He's 2.5 tenths clear in first, and then the distance from second to fourth, we have it all within 18 thousandths of a second. From second to fourth. That is extremely close.
Yes, Rip the Beans is very quick. He also raced in a couple of other leagues, I believe, also. But that's what we love to see. We love to see how tight the field is here. I contrast the only one in the top 10, starting on the medium tyre. Bit of strategy going to be at play here. Also keeping an eye on Jax. He's starting pretty much at the back there, and he's going to be rapid. Also completely out of place is he. So that's our qualifying at Spa done. Rip the Beans there taking P1, Plebs in P2, and Scotty in P3, our championship contenders at the top there. BPV8, he's new, not seen him before unless he has changed his name in the Haas there in 4th. Zach JW in the Alpine in 5th. Crazy Kiwi, Alex Pater, I contrast the... oh, no, I lie. The Tinselman is also on a medium tie. Must have been on the soft and abandoned it right at the end there. And Dan the Racer rounding off the top 10 today. A few drivers down, unfortunately, but still enough there to have... I think it's going to be a great race. And, yes, keep an eye out the back there for Jax. He's starting at the back there, and I'm sure he's going to go aggressive straight away.
Yeah, there's a bit of a jump there from 8th to 9th, you know, almost 8 tenths in between 8th and 9th, but the first to 8th separated by only 8 tenths themselves, so a bit of a pace, you can see the sort of pace difference there in the two packs that are in this group, but yeah, Jax is out of position right there at the back, so that should make for some really interesting racing at the start of the race.
You reckon he's sandbagging, do you, Willis? He may well have been and given up on the Camel straight there. But, yeah, it should definitely be an interesting race from him. I don't think we've had any weather reports at all from the guys. No, we haven't had no weather reports. But I think it'll be dry, because otherwise there wouldn't have been so many people choosing to opt for the medium tyre.
Yeah,
or at least try. Overcast.
Cloudy. Overcast, but that only means that the temperatures will be super manageable. Don't believe this is one of the tracks where overheating is, or underheating is too much of a problem, but Maddie, please correct me on that.
Well, it can be on the hards, I guess, if it's a very cold day. On the hards, it's probably not ideal, and as we see very, very often on those hard tyres, under safety car restarts, it's just been a disaster. Anybody who's restarted on the hard tyre has just gone backwards, so I wonder if any of them will have learnt from that. I mean, it's easy for us to see from the combox what is developing, not quite so easy for these guys, but yes, that's been pretty much a slam dunk bad move.
Yes. Last week's race was pretty interesting as well, with the... essentially, slicks still available whilst being in the rain, and some drivers electing for those, realising it was a terrible decision and having to switch back, and that made for a pretty interesting race as we all get ready for the formation lap.
Yes, now interesting to see if after the patch there's been any changes in terms of the spectator mode. I don't think there's been anything. They've tried to fix a few glitches and such, so hopefully we will have a smooth run with this today. So yes, Rip the Beans taking away the cars on the formation lap in P1. It's going to be a very close battle, I think, between the top 3 with Plebs and Scotty also.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, you know, if the second driver gets a good run off the start. Sometimes it can be a bit like Russia here, where starting in second is pretty useful. You can get a huge tow all the way down the straight, and if things go well, potentially overtake. But you've got to defend from behind, of course, as well. Only thing I'm noticing that might be new, Matty, wrong. If you look at the petrol symbol down, there are arrows on the right of it.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure what. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I'm guessing it's something to do with the formation lap, I would imagine. It is 44 laps. It is 44 laps as we are in endurance tonight, and that is a 100% race. So we'll just go through the rest of this order for you guys there. Zach JW in 5th position, Crazy Kiwi starting in 6th in that McLaren. Alex Paedo just behind. What was happened there? There's some. Why is there? I think there must have been some accidental position changing there. Alex Paedo, eye contrast in 44. That is correct. Correct, F194. Eye contrast and Tinselman on those medium tyres, and then down the race rounding off the top 10. My name is Jeff in P11, choosing to go on the medium tyre. Honest Crook also on the. I wouldn't be surprised if all these guys are on medium tyres. Future Dreamline in the Williams also on the medium. Twitch Liddy on the medium. Snickersbud on the medium tyre, and Oz Formula Jax deciding to go for medium tyre. I thought he might have gone for a soft tyre and gone for that aggressive strategy, but I'm sure he's going to be very quick on the medium anyway. Oh, I'm so glad you're sticking around to watch us F194. That makes us feel happy in the combox.
Right, we love being able to talk to somebody rather than just ourselves.
So they're just coming around the finishing the formation lap into the grid spots now. Hopefully they've got all their tyres nice and toasty and ready for the start. It's always a bit of chaos heading down into La Source, so we will do our best to try and keep an eye out for the action in here. That is a terrible camera angle. Oh, there we go. That's much better.
There we go.
So hopefully we'll get some, the Formula 1 Codemasters gods will give us some good camera angles into this. First, it's still doing that glitch. Fantastic. And 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away they go, down into turn 1. Pleb's getting a very, very, very good start there, going around the outside of Rit the Beans, but Rit the Beans is the inside contesting that position here. Everyone seems to have got clean through La Source. Pleb's settling into P1 here now. It's going to be Rit the Beans settling into P2, but he is going to have the slipstream now heading, as long as he can keep in touch with him, over Eau Rouge and Radion. Now see if the slipstream is going to be powerful enough for him to re-challenge this position. It's going to be all about how low downforce these guys are running. Looks, Pleb's sort of covering the inside. Rit the Beans backs out of that, and that has allowed BP to also come around the inside of Malmedy on Rit the Beans, and he's lost 2 positions there. Also, Scotty having a look down the inside through Rivage. Can he hold on to this position through here? It does look like he's got, and Rit the Beans having an absolutely terrible start there, dropping down 3 positions through the first part of the lap.
Yeah, that's tough. Starting ahead and having to drop all those positions, I feel like really he wanted to push through the Camel Straight, but kind of needed to sit back and make sure he took the ideal line to defend behind.
It looks like a terrible start for the McLarens there. Look, they've dropped a lot of positions. Jax has gained quite a few positions from that. I'm not surprised from his start. My name is Jeff, also losing out of positions there. But these guys are already started to open up the gaps at the front here. And that is important, and Zach just having a little look through Paul Frere at Rit the Beans, backs out of it and sits in behind him through Blanchimont. He's just going to bide his time, I think, a little bit through here and have a look into the bus stop chicane. Not quite close enough for a move here. Just going to settle in behind him. And yeah, it's going to be a few laps, obviously, till the DRS opens. I keep wanting to say Oz Formula, and he's gone into the pits straight away. He must have had some damage there for him to do that, such an early pit stop. So that's not going to be an ideal start for him, especially coming from the back there. I'm sure there'll be safety cars later on, and he'll be able to make some positions up. Eye contrast there, defending from down the race. Tinselman also having moved up from eye contrast, who's kept his position.
Looks like Plebs has just dropped first place to BP V8.
Now, do you know who this BP is?
I do not. And
I do not either.
BB Pro has changed his name again. I doubt that's actually what's happened. But BB,
yes.
BP, same.
Well, he's looking very strong, having made up those positions on the first lap and taking P1. it's good to see they're still here anyway, F194. And yeah, that interesting line there going down to Puon on the off the track there, sticking that one wheel onto that AstroTurf there. I've seen quite a few guys do that, and obviously must gain them some time, or they feel it does, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it.
It does seem like a lot of effort to go to, so it must be quick. Very strange to basically straddle the dirt, but whatever goes.
Well, that is the way to go, apparently. Jack's by P10 by the end of the first lap. Bet well, unfortunately, well, it's lucky he didn't put any money in that Ferrari Pro because he's not made any positions on that first lap. As future Dreamliner looking has made a move down at Paul Ferrer on Snickers, bud. Coming down he's not going to have another look down to the bus stop chicane and settles in behind us. We're going to see as BP there sets the fastest lap of the race. He's got some pace at the start here, has BP. He's going to be challenging those guys at the top here, and that's not really what they want. More championship contenders and to spoil the party, but we love to see that here in the comebacks. To shake the order up, we like to see a bit of that.
Yeah, well, look, you've got a question from Ferrari Pro. Are you leaked tomorrow, Blackburn?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it, and we've got a safety car, virtual safety car. Whilst I was thinking about that question, there's a couple of cars who've gone off at Radeon. Two cars. Honest Crook DNF.
Sorry, I've distracted you there. Made you miss it.
That's alright. Yeah, that's our first retiree of the race. Obviously, just lost it up through that section. They were right next to each other, so they may have had some contact between the two. It's always dangerous going for that move there. We've still got a virtual, which is excellent to see. Would rather not have the race already disrupted by a safety car. Rip the Beans just putting a little right on the back of Scotty, ready for this restart and taking full advantage of that. And away they go. That was I think I caught him off guard a little bit through there. Good to see that you'll be back. Are you back on the wheel, Ferrari Pro, tomorrow night? I wonder, are you still on that controller? Yeah, the gaps have opened up quite a few at the front here. Scotty definitely keeping in touch with the front runners, but Pleb's dropping off from the pace of that Haas at front.
Yeah, Plebs will be in trouble now as we still, as the safety, sorry, even though we've had a virtual safety car, we still have DR straight away. And it looks like My Name is Jeff has gone off.
Yeah, down near Stavilo. That's Paul Fraser and this one here.
Yeah. Alright. I'm getting there.
There you go. But he's got it going, and it looks like he's not taking any damage, which is incredible. To do that, obviously he avoided the wall there. It's very easy to just go sliding across the grass and straight into that wall, and even DNF from that. But those guys at the front, they're very close, and whoa! That was a bit of sideways moment by Scotty, heading up the hill at Radeon.
Good news for Plebs. He's managed to get into the DRS zone of BPV.
Yeah, back into the DRS. Obviously getting a better restart on that virtual safety car of BP. And so that's good. That's kept that battle at the front going through here as we see like somebody else gone off. Someone else gone off at Eau Rouge. So it's already... Is he missing a front wing? It does certainly look like he's missing a front wing.
Definitely doesn't have one.
Yeah, no, it's claimed already quite a few drivers, and we're only 4 laps in of the 44, 10% of the way through. And just going a little bit wide there is Zach JW in the Alpine at Puon. Hopefully he's not going to pick up a penalty. I'm sure there'll be plenty of penalties throughout this race.
There are a couple of spots here to pick up those ones for cutting. They're pretty lenient on this game with the going on the outside. Bit more than they were last year, but yeah, cutting is still absolutely something to look out for. Looks like My Name is Jeff did have damage from that crash because he came straight into the pits afterwards.
Yeah, it's still obviously not showing up minor damage sometimes, especially for the spectator count, which is a little bit frustrating. But we've just got to play things by ear. Cars at the front here very close. Alex Pato also all over the back of this little train here that is sort of being led by Rip the Beans, although he is, you know, still keeping in touch with Scotty. So there's the top 6 here, all very close together. I'm sure that those two guys and the mediums, Tinselman and Eye Contrast, will be wanting to try and keep keep touch with this front group as best as they can, and maybe they'll sort of work together and pull each other along through the slipstream. And they won't want to fight each other too much to lose time, because, like I said, you know, they're going to want to... And Plebs, they're taking the lead through... I think we're going to see quite a bit of that, switching positions on the DRS zones, switching back and forth as they overtake through these sessions.
Isn't it great to see a Haas and a Williams, P1 and 2? Something different. Well, Plebs a little bit twitchy. Sometimes when you go around that corner, the back end kind of slip out from the camber of that curve, which can be, it can feel quite bad and look quite bad, but it doesn't slow you down as much as you'd think.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sketchy, that one, and very easy to just slip wide onto the outside and pick up a penalty there. As we see our first penalty of the day, rip the beans there with 3-second corner cutting penalty. And Tinselman Eye Contrast there having a little fight as well. Eye Contrast is getting past him through the Lefanier. Oh no, it was down at Stavelo, I believe. Through there. But, yep.
Blackman, could you switch to the tyre compounds on the left?
Of course.
Just to have another look and see where those medium drivers are end up. So Eye Contrast is still leading the mediums pack, and he's going to have to do that if he wants to be, you know, happy with that decision to start on the mediums. They're not a huge way behind. They're about, you know, 4 seconds, 5, 6 seconds behind the leaders, but it's a long race and they will have some serious pace at the end as well.
Yeah, they might have lost a little bit of time fighting through that middle section. They were only 2 seconds shy of them at the start of the lap, so as I said, they're not going to want to fight too much. And that we just lost somebody at Eau Rouge there. That was Rip the Beans. Eau Rouge claiming another car already. That is a real shame for Rip the Beans. Again, he's clearly got a lot of pace, but he's just struggling with his consistency at the moment. Also seeing an Alfa Romeo that's gone round down Lefanier. But that hasn't triggered a safety car, which is good, so we can keep this race underway. But yeah, real shame there from Rip the Beans again, DNFing from that. But these guys still battling at the front there. BP not quite managing it close enough to Plevs. But this train now down to 5 cars at the front. Tinselman has settled in behind Eye Contrast, and he's going to just want to probably get pulled along by Eye Contrast, and hopefully these two can close the group at the front and stay in touch with them.
Looks like Jax has just got his first 3-second penalty as well. He's been making up some serious ground. He's up into 10th. It wasn't 1 lap for OPro, but he's done it in 6 laps with a pit stop, so not a bad effort at all. But he's got some ground to make up still if he wants to get back in the fight. But for people like Eye Contrast and Tinselman, they'll be pretty happy that there is a big pack ahead that are constantly fighting each other, because they're going to be slowing each other down by having to defend the whole time.
Future Dreamliner getting past Crazy Kiwi down at Stavelo. Also, there seems to be a popular overtaking place currently, and Alex Pato going really wide there. He's going to want to watch out for that curb coming back on the track. Keeps it going. There's these cars are really closing in on each other now, coming down the Kemmel Straight, and we'll see how this pans out here. Is Scotty going to be close enough to attempt an overtake? He's got a double toe from Plevs, but Plevs really... he's got some straight line speed on that car, because BP wasn't even close to getting to him. That is a good way of keeping ahead, just really trimming off that downforce as much as possible, and it's very, very effective on that track, because it is very difficult to overtake through the middle section of a car, especially with the dirty air.
Yeah, it can be really tough the whole way through that second sector. There aren't many places, and not many places that you'd be comfortable going for a move when there's 3 cars behind you, lined up and ready to take your spot on any mistake. So really kind of only leaves it open for the big braking zones into Lacombe and also into the bus stop chicane. But
yeah, but what has been interesting, we've seen 2. Does it 2? Or I think we've had 2 overtakes down at Stavelo already, which is quite a surprise. It's not really a place you tend to see overtaking happen.
I guess maybe people getting caught a little bit unawares and sort of want to open up that corner a bit, but it really leaves the door open for anyone to come in.
Yeah, going back to this fuel symbol here, notice that BP's got the yellow on the fuel thing, whereas Plevs does not. And I'm not sure what that is. There was not any in the patch notes anything about fuel mode changing. Was there?
Also, when the safety car was on, it was green for some drivers and red for some drivers, and arrows popped up in the
I reckon it's to do with whether they're under or over fueled currently. That must be what it is. So that's some,
yes.
yeah, that'll be some good insight for us in the comm box, being able to see that. Shall we presume that yellow is under fueled?
Why don't you ride on board, and we'll see if we can read the steering wheel. Not from that view. All right. If you,
I was hoping it'd change.
If you go to that view and you get rid of the thing at the bottom, we should be able to read it.
It's green on his...
It's green.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, that means he's got...
You can't even see it in the car of the Williams.
Presuming that the colour comes up. Correct. Okay, we'll cease on this tangent for now and come back with some more concrete information. Tinselman has got past eye contrast. The interesting position chaining here. Again, now they've dropped another second on these front runners, and there comes to a point when you kind of have to think, is it really worth fighting each other as much? Obviously, the other car thinks that it has more pace than the other one. It's always hard to tell when you're stuck behind the other car with the dirty air, but eye contrast really hustling Tinselman through Sector 2 at the moment, and he, obviously really wants to get past here. He's not happy with the Tinselman's pace, and feels that
Tinselman is not pulling away, so that's the thing. Is it worth just sticking behind one of the cars, getting pulled along? But at some point you do have to pull the pin and say, I'm faster, I've got to go. But we'll see if that's the case.
Yeah, they've lost another couple of seconds now on that pack at the front, and they've really got to be wary that they're not going to lose touch with them. Jack's getting past Snickers, Bud at Paul Frere. Easily done through here. He's on that soft tyre, so he's got some pace at the moment. Next car up the road is Dan the Racer for him. Currently the order at the front is unchanging. Tinselman getting a nice little gap on eye contrast through there, which is interesting at the start of the race. He's not picked up the alright, we'll catch you around next time, F1 94. But I'm sure we're going to see a move from Jax coming up through here. He's already got so much overspeed on Dan the Racer even before the DRS zone. It almost looked like he backed out of it a little bit there just to make sure he gets the move done at the right time. And gets easily passed on the inside. Gives him a little bit of a squeeze, but there was still enough space, just enough space of racing room through there. And he moves up into P8 now, into the top 10. But of course, Race Spec scoring all the way down to P15. All these drivers, if they finish, will be receiving points today.
Great reason to not put it in the wall.
Well, exactly that. Especially when that midfield battle is so tight between all of our guys here. This pack, this is great. This pack is just sitting under a second, and Plev's just holding on to that front pack. We'll just check out the ERS levels of these guys. They're all sitting about the same, apart from the front two, which is really interesting to see. Those front two just looking after their levels, a lot of energy, a lot better at the front. And yeah, I do agree with you that air on the Aston Martin looking spiffing with those two strakes on the other side of the halo. Nice update.
Yeah, it looks great when you're sitting in the car as well. It's nice to get one of the interesting halos to look at, considering it's right in front of your face. Camera angle, of course.
Yeah, this order, they're just... that's... Dan the Race has gone around at the final chicane. He's kept it going. Dropped down at one position on Snickers Bud. So, but he kept it going, kept it out of the wall, so I think he's good to keep going on. He lost a minimal amount of time, so that's good to see on his behalf. And yeah, these guys just hustling each other, just that, looking for a mistake from the car in front, looking for any mistake, and an opportunity to seize on the move. But I'm sure they'll be quite happy just sort of pulling along, getting pulled along by Plevs, and just keeping the status quo at this current stage of the race. Eye contrast also has closed up a little bit on Tinselman in the last lap also.
It looks like Scotty, Zach, and Alex Pato, they're having to use a lot more ERS to actually stick with them and get that DRS, and it's definitely worth doing that to stay with the pack. So I guess it's up to Scotty to set that pace, but Plebs and BPV8, tons of airs, really. Like, they could break away if they really wanted to here, but they'd have to, you know, have a chat, make a decision together. But
Yeah, Beep.
we'll see. BP's getting quite close here, so we'll see if he'll be able to make a move at the end of the first sector.
Around Blanchimont now, and he's not going to be close enough for a move into the bus stop chicane. But with the DR, he's been saving his battery a little bit now, and I have a feeling we're going to see a move being made
time.
now. Yep, it's been sort of
all the way up to 100%. So
yep,
we'll
tactically saving.
Soon.
He's not going to want to go for the move yet.
But
I feel like he's dropped.
Shifting the whole way up through there.
Yeah, he's dropped back maybe a bit too far now.
Now here it goes. Burn, burn, burn.
And yeah, that Williams got quite strong spray line speed. Pleb's moving to cover the inside. Is he going to make it stick around the outside of the Lacombe? Yes, he does just hold on. Pleb's having a little bit of a look there, but then finally conceding the position round Malmedy as they come down. Yeah, great. And Scotty right up the back after that. See, just that losing that little bit of time going offline through the overtake has just allowed him to get even closer now to the back. This group has closed right up through this section.
BP has 2 sectors left to gain an extra 6/10 and get outside of the DRS. That's what he'll be wanting to do. Will he be able to do it? Maybe. He's got a lot of airs, so we'll see how much he's deploying and whether he just goes as fast as possible to get.
Yeah, he's not
ahead.
really
Like
using.
He's just
Cruising.
He's happy just to. He's decided he'll sit in front for a bit. Maybe they're trading.
Yeah, maybe they're okay. You lead that lap, and then I'll lead this lap, and then we'll see how the pace goes. But the gap hasn't really opened up too much at all with these guys. But Alex Pato has closed in a little bit on Zach JW there. I wonder how long these guys. Is that rain? I believe that's rain coming down.
That looks like rain. That's rain.
Oh, it's exactly what we needed to spice up this little tense battle going at the front. That's going to make them worry quite a bit now with these droplets. It's just an added factor now to worry about.
Makes you feel like you'd be regretting starting on the mediums at this stage, unless this rain comes so slowly for another 10 laps before it gets too wet. But that is definitely rain. So if you started on the softs, you're in a good spot. Being able to get a bit of a gap before you'll need to eventually change the inters if it comes down enough. We'll have to see.
Yes, as I'm sure there's tactical play happening all over the board. Alex Pato having a little sniff at Zach JW. Is he going to... No, he just chooses to... Not quite close enough. Just chooses to stay in the back. It's quite difficult that all these guys having the DRS. So it's so important. And I contrast making the move down into the Lacombe chicane on Tinselman and sneaks through there in front of him. Now that you're back, F194, we can update you. There is rain happening, the happening of the rain, and it's only coming down very light at the. I was going to say very light at the moment, but it is starting to build. Scotty is looking like he's struggling a little bit.
It's a bit slippery. Eau Rouge is definitely going to be slippery.
Oh,
and so is Radion.
Yep, that's going to certainly make things interesting. And Jax has really caught up to the back of the pack that he was so far off now. He's only 6 seconds off those medium runners, putting some serious pace in there. Wow, yeah. They've been slowly dropping away from this front group, have the two medium guys in the top 10. Alex Pato, once again, right on the back of Zach JW. Scotty has dropped off a little bit from the front too. Oh. They're coming in.
This will be interesting. Who stayed out?
It does look very wet in the pit lane there. Pleb's choosing to stay out. It's suddenly changed, hasn't it? It seemed to be okay, and now there's a lot more standing water built. This could be a mistake from Plebs. It's a very long lap around Spa. If you make that call at the wrong time, you are going to be in serious pain. And it looks like to me that Plebs has made that wrong call. We'll see how this plays out. But it's looking very wet. There's no spray yet, but I would imagine in a few corners.
Yeah. Stay with it. But yeah.
Seems to be okay through here. we're going to keep an eye on these deltas for you and see everyone else is choosing to... DRS has been disabled, which is usually a slam dunk in terms of the which way to go in terms of the tyre.
I think it's already a decision. He's already lost 3 seconds.
Yeah, Norris equals plebs, or hopefully we won't see as much drama as... the spray now on the tyre. He's going to have to be so careful coming around here. He is carrying a lot of speed through there, so he's really pushing. Yeah, you can see there the understeer kicking in through the Piff Paff and the Fanier chicane down into Stavilo now, and how will this go? He's going to be very careful on the power. Gets a little bit of a sideways there, just taking it nice and gently, especially around here. Oh, bit of drift going on. And the boys behind have already cut out a couple of seconds on Plevs, and so we'll see where he's going to come down. He might even
come out in 5th position.
Yeah. Oh, and he's gone round! He's gone round a Blanchimont into the wall. Plevs has gone round and he's out. That was, wow. That was a wrong call. Wrong call from him.
And a huge moment for the championship there. With
huge
Scotty
moment.
In 3rd and eye contrast in 6th.
Oh, the debris coming round there.
All going to be catching up. So all of those medium runners, they'll be lucky there. They get right up to the pack, and then these inters could potentially go the whole way if it stays wet.
Indeed. Blanchimont, in the dry, in a modern day Formula 1 car, not a problem. Any other condition or any other car, is a very tricky corner at high speeds there. And as Plevs just found out, he was trying to limit the damage he was going to take from going on the inters too late. Yeah, that's a shame to see him go. And Eye Contrast will be sitting very happy up there now in P5 on the inters, and his championship contender out. Although Scotty, the other championship contender, is in P2, so it's going to be great for him as well in terms of the standings, if he can finish up.
It seems likely that the drivers were probably given a weather warning for about 20 or 25 in, and because of the new option to approximate the weather, it came early. And that's probably why some of those drivers were really wanting to start in the medium, that they could make sure that their first stint went without having to pit. So there was a chance that maybe they thought the rain would be later, but it's come a little bit earlier, and that's really worked out well for those soft starters.
Yeah, he was doing very well on this slicks, I thought, and I was impressed at how much pace he was getting out of them, but maybe it was a little bit too much. He maybe should have gone a bit more cautious. But that's ifs, buts, and what could have been, and yeah, shame to. We've now lost 3 drivers in this race. Rip the Beans and Honest Crook, and now Plevs, who has triggered a safety car, as there's just been a penalty awarded to Alex Pato and Scotty under the safety car. We've had issues with these in the past where it hasn't been the driver's fault, so I wonder what happened there. And yeah, I was just going to do a quick penalty check in this little lull that we've got here. We've got Oz Formula with 3 seconds, Future Dreamliner, Dan the Racer, and Twitch Liddy all with 3-second penalties. There's not too many at the moment, considering how far we are into the race.
Yeah, expect a few more to rack up now that we're on the inters, because it's a little bit more slippy and slidey.
Yes, I wonder if anybody watching, any of our viewers watching who are in the chat might know what the weather conditions are going to be like. Are they going to get worse, or are they going to sort of stick around at this sort of level of rain? Because it does look... I reckon that must have been... They must have collided under that safety car, and he's picked up damage, has Alex Pato, most likely.
That is disappointing. Either that, or it's wetter than we think. But it does seem likely he's got some front wing damage. Let's see.
Visually...
Oh, no, he's gone... He's serving his penalty, and he's going on to the wet.
He's taking a gamble there that it's going to get more wet. It currently doesn't look too bad, but he might be preempted. This might be a great strategy call, thinking about the next couple of laps.
This could completely change the race if it is wet. Alex Pato would be in a really, really great position there. We'll see.
I was just checking about Crazy Kiwi. Something about his controller dying. I'm not sure if he's... because he's ghosting at the minute. He may not be in the race at the moment. But yes, this will be interesting to see how this plays out now. Has this been a stroke of genius, or has this been a disaster? To me, it does not look wet enough for the full wet tyre. At least,
No.
at least he's got a bit of time now under the safety car. It'll help keep the temperatures down. But it's definitely... and honestly, there's not that much spray coming from the cars either. It kind of doesn't look bad at all. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. Maybe good old Jeff has been on the radio telling Alex Pato that the rain is going to get... oh, it looks like the spray just...
There is spray.
the spray just loaded in. That was maybe... was that a glitch, or...
Spray.
what happened there?
No.
Some odd...
No, that is this game.
Yes.
No, Jeff's on there telling fibs. Apparently not. Let's see if anybody dives into the pits here. It's possible the safety car will come in, but it's
Oh,
hard to
what
know.
is going on with
Still-
some penalties under the safety car here? Just try and keep it... whoa, he's all... oh, I think there's a bit of lag happening here, and that will probably be contributing to the penalties. And the safety car... ooh, that does not look healthy from that onboard camera. Yes, safety
Wouldn't
car
wanna be down
in
the
this
rest of
lap.
that position.
Absolutely not. It's terrifying when that's happening. You don't know which way the car's going to go, and you don't know if it's actually there or not. But we're about to get this race going under the way with BP V8 going to restart this race for us. We'll ride on board here with Zach and see how this restart...
Everyone's going in.
I think it's too late to go in. I don't think anybody's going to peel in. Nope.
Ooh.
Big
Let's see
snap
if
of
Alex
oversteer.
Pato drops back. Looks like there's already been a crash.
Yeah, Snickersbud heading into the pit lane straight away, and maybe looking also for a wet tyre. I can't tell if the game's not loading the spray in for us, or if it's just that top part of the track which is more wet than the other part of the track. And it's been a very clean restart from the top guys. They've made a good gap.
Oh.
Getting a little bit... had to get back out of it, did Tinselman, and Oz Formula just shoots straight through.
He's like, this is my race. Last to first, here we go.
Last to first challenge from Jax. We love to see that on that curb, sliding around a little bit.
Looks like Alex Pato's dropped back a little bit from Future Dreamliner. I'm not sure if something happened there, or if wet's still not right. Snickersbud's also dived in for those wets.
These guys, look at these guys, so close in the rain here. Coming through Bruxelles. And Jack's definitely having a look at eye contrast through into Puon, getting very close to the back. You see, look how much more wet it is coming around this Sector 2 part of the track. Now, oh, he's trying to have a little look at piling on the pressure. Eye contrast, trying to get a little cut back here. Not quite worked out for him, but I'm sure he's going to get a good slipstream down through Sector 3. And they've just got to be really careful in these tricky conditions. They've not done a full lap yet on the inters with the changing conditions. It does look like the rain is getting heavier, and he's going to have a look through here. Moves to the outside. Eye contrast covering the inside. Is he going to look around Blanchimont? Not quite. Short shifts and gets a beautiful switchback through eye contrast there. Absolutely textbook move through down into the bus stop chicane. And Tinselman also looking at eye contrast, struggling in these conditions. They may have gone for that lower downforce setup, and it's not working out. And it looks like Alex Pato is potentially coming into the pit lane. And
yes, I believe the wets were the wrong decision. They're too
wrong
too
decision. That was absolutely fantastic move there from Jax, and Tinselman also all over the back of eye contrast. He's really struggling in these conditions, and yeah, I just feel that maybe with it just right on the back of him there, just doesn't have the confidence through these high-speed corners.
But he's definitely got straight line speed, so as you say, maybe he's running a little bit of a low downforce setup.
Yeah.
Looks like
Jack's looking to make his next move. Alex Pato not having a good time at the back there, and he's getting swamped by all the guys, and the Inters are going to be very careful around this not to make any contact. As you see, Jack's coming through. Rivage on the inside there, getting past Zach, and just sizing up his next move. He's powering his way through the field. BP in the front, pulling away from Scotty, making a nice little gap there. He's looking pretty comfortable in the wet. Tinselman keeping tabs with eye contrast very close to the back of him. And yeah, very interesting. We've got now two distinct packs happening here. The front runners and the rear gunners down at the back, which is being led by Dan the Racer.
I think Future Dreamliner. Is it?
No, Future Dreamliner he's somewhere in the middle.
He's in his own pack. He's in his own special pack.
He's just yeah, something like that. He's got no one around him. He's no pressure from the other guys because yeah, these two packs are very close together. Alex Pato, you can see just struggling there at the back on those wet tires. He's trying to hold on to that wet tire and just wait for those conditions to come back to him, but there comes to a point when it might not be changing to wet. The rain just might not be heavy enough for those wet tires.
Yeah, Snickers Bud's made an extra pit stop and gone back to the Inters.
Yeah.
I guess if you switch to the Inters now, you can hope that a safety car will bring you back into play.
Yeah, just take the pain now and hope that the race comes back to you later on. My name is Jeff, getting the La Source hooked up very nicely, but Dan the Race has a much better exit going wide out in that corner. Tinselman also having a look.
Has just been passed by Jax.
We've got Alex Pato on the wet tyre. Has gone round at, after La Source at the hairpin. It's a safety car. He must have just on that exit. I've got no camera angle from that, but he would have just gone round at La Source and into that wall. Wet tyres, just not the right conditions for them, and that gamble for him has ended with a DNF, unfortunately.
Yeah, Snickers Bud winning out there. He'll get to catch back up on the freshest set of Inters after also making the same game. But he didn't pay the ultimate price, I guess.
Yeah, well, you know, chose to go back to that Inter tyre, and which was obviously clearly the correct tyre to be on at this current stage of the race.
So just to review Jax's race, first lap damage after making 4 positions back down to 16th. Next stint, 16th up into 6th safety car, another set, and then made it all the way from 6th to 2nd in that 2-lap stint we just have been there. And now there's another safety car, so he'll be able to push for that lead and potentially be leading the race from starting at the back.
Yeah, so now we're just settling into this safety car again. Just finding out from Alex Pato exactly what happened from him. Hopefully we'll hear from him in a second. And yeah, he just lost it round on the exit of La Source. Those just wet tyres not working in these current conditions as Jax Oz Formula comes into the pit lane along with Scotty as well. I wonder what we're going to...
Putting on wets again.
No, they're going for a fresh set of Inters. The gap is big enough between that pack at the back that they're only going to lose a few minimum positions.
They weren't too old though, that does seem strange. Maybe when they first put it quite wet enough and they wore through them really quickly with the high temps that you can get, you know, using Inters in semi-dry conditions.
He's done a quick calculation. Has Jax to work out that that pack was just far enough away that he could come in and come out ahead of them, lose minimal positions, and be on that fresh Inter tyre. That gamble hasn't quite worked out for Scotty as well, as he's now jammed himself at the middle of that other pack. So he's lost out a little bit more there for him not being as far up the road as Jax was.
Possible Jax has been doing the maths and realised that those 5-lap old tyres might have not made it to the end. So maybe this is... He's hoping that he'll be able to go to the end on these Inters and other people might struggle. But 5 laps is not a huge amount of time on a 100% race, so we'll see.
Yeah, and from the top of the valley there, it's not looking too dark, is it? I don't think we'll be going back to dry. unless we have some serious weather changes. But it's certainly, yeah, it's look at the spray coming down the hill there. As you obviously that middle part of the track getting a bit more wet than the top of the hill. The water running down the hill by the power of gravity, and
magic.
But yes, so he's going to be pretty rapid on those fresh inter tyres. Is Jax there?
Bit of a sigh of relief for BPV8 at the front though. He would, where has this person come from? Because he was seriously gaining on him even when he had traffic away. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this works and whether it was the right decision. He'll probably be gambling on a few people in front, struggling a little bit in the wet and maybe feeling pretty comfortable. But looks like we might have one more lap.
Yeah, there'll be another lapper behind the safety car as Snickers Bud pulls up to the rear of the pack. 4 drivers out, down and out in this Spa-Francorchamps race in Belgium. Honest Crook right at the start of the race ripped the beans, then Plevs losing it on those dry, slick tyres under the changeable conditions, and Alex Pato now on the triggering this safety car halfway through the race on the wet tyre. Now,
we've lost the top 2 drivers from Quali and Alex Pato, who was in the top 5 when he crashed as well. So some contenders losing out here.
Yeah, I was just going to check. Alex Pato is actually currently still a reserve, and he's sitting down in 17th position near the back of that midfield pack. So that's going to be a shame for him because those points would have really come in handy and moved him up quite a few positions as that pack is just so tight.
Absolutely. And we'll see if these penalties come into play as well. Maybe if we could just have a quick reminder. Are they all 3 seconds or are there some 5s?
There's that 1 5-second from Future Dreamline. I think he had contact with Dan the Racer during that previous safety car. Scotty having served his penalty under the pit in the pits, so he won't be able to get that removed, unfortunately. But maybe he chose to pay his penalty now rather than maybe a bit later when it might have made more of a difference.
That's right. So Future Dreamliner might have that problem if he does need to pit again towards the end of the race. He won't be able to get that penalty taken off because he will automatically take it in the game.
Yeah, it really doesn't look that wet at the top of the hill, does it? There, and then now we head into this. All
of a sudden, even though the rain actually changes, now it's.
I wonder if that's just for us here, or if that's for as we see a couple of Formula Oz or Jax fans in the chat. F194 Brock Bear 75. Shout out for them cheering on Jax with his last to first charge in this race here today. He's just put himself back in a few positions to get those fresh inters, but I'm sure he'll be coming through the pack as we see the sign coming up here that the safety car will be in this lap, and we're going to get this race underway just under half distance this evening. And yes, some changeable conditions, throwing a few spanners and works through some of the guys. BP having a very good restart last time, so let's see if he can pull this off again. Seeing a change of position down here. What's happened in this? Then the position's getting put back to where they were. Okay, that's good to see. Maybe he just went a bit wide here. So we'll see how BP decides to restart this race. Coming now into the bus stop, still just being a bit patient here. And off he goes.
Now he's gone.
Jack's already making a move. What's happened here? Future Dreamliner has gone peeled off into the pit lane, along with my name is Jeff.
That does suck for some of those drivers behind. It pushes them back a bit. Getting held up in the pits, and it can take you unawares.
Jeff was actually on the track still. I'm not sure what happened with him. And we're going to see he's serving his 5-second penalty. I thought there was going to be a wing change for a second there. There is going to be a wing change. So
the wings are on. How convenient. Oh, no.
So obviously he did take some damage and there with contact from down the race. So maybe he wasn't aware that there was going to be a wing change. There's a bit of that when you take that very little amount of damage, there's a bit of a glitch. It doesn't show up, and he might not have been aware that he was going to get a wing change, just coming in to change onto those tyres.
Yeah, can be worth going into your options and switching ring change to no, unless of course you want that brand spanking new wing.
Scotty making a move down at Rivage, picking up his positions back again, and he's back again behind Jax, so he's made swift work of those guys to put him back into that top 6 position there. Jax still going. Contrast he's looking pretty strong at this stage now. He was looking not so good earlier in these sort of damp conditions, but we'll catch you later, F194. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Jax actually has already caught up to 1.5 seconds that he was behind from that pit entry after taking that last position. So he's catching up quick. He's still got pace, and he will be coming for that tinsel man.
Yeah, see if there's any team orders down at the Mercedes camp. Or, yeah, Tinselman just leaves the inside open for him, although he's sort of contending that position. Sort of lured him in there with an inside line, but I think Jax is going to have the inside now down to La Source, and it definitely looked like Tinselman backed out there to concede the position. I think he knows that Jax is going to be a little bit quicker than him, and hopefully he can use him as sort of a, just to peel through the pack now. He might even look for a, he's going to had to back out of that up through Radion. He's not picked himself up any penalties yet, as we see a penalty for Twitch Liddy, who's down in 7th and 8th. This will be a strong finish for the Alfa Romeo boys if they can keep it on the track. Snickers Bud on the back of the Crazy Kiwi Ghost. So yeah, we've lost both McLarens as well.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Kiwi's been able to pop his batteries into his controller, or what, we don't actually know. But
yeah, I don't think he could get back into the lobby after his controller disconnected. I think that was the problem. With I think there was only one invite sent, so yeah. BP having a very good restart there, making that one and a bit second gap up on Zach JW, so he's comfortably leading this pack. The gap's opening up a little bit from my contrast as well. And I'm sure that Jack is going to be all over the back of iContrast again. We'll see if he's going to look again and try that move down into the Blanchimont. But I'm sure iContrast will be wary of it this time.
And the spray is back on.
The spray is back on. Not as bad in this year's game, I don't think. The spray is a lot easier to see through it.
iContrast will be preparing for that move that Jack's made last time. iContrast very smart here, covering the inside, the right idea. Don't go too wide. But, little bit of contact there.
They quite left each other enough space, so... But obviously pushing the limits between the two is always... iContrast goes deep into La Source. And that's allowed Tinselman to get right up on the back of him. He's, once again, struggling in these wet conditions. I think the Mercedes boys, they realised that it was going to be wet and maybe piled up on a little bit more downforce to help in these conditions. Yeah, struggling.
Picking up his first penalty, 3 seconds.
I was going to say he was struggling to close the gap there, but he wasn't even using any of his energy modes.
Drying up a little bit now.
It has looked like it's stopped raining, hasn't it?
The sun's come out. You can see the glare there.
We're gonna.
It's raining where it just turns on just down the hill over here, because that could be interesting.
Yeah,
it's a little wetter here.
Are we gonna see more changeable conditions here at spray, but it's not raining.
So we've got a dry part of the track, a drying part of the track, and a raining part of the track.
And it's definitely gonna make it interesting. And yeah, we're going to see some more changing conditions just to really spice this race back up again. More strategy is going to come into play now. And Jack's now on the back of Zach JW, who has dropped off from BP. And he's got some serious pace out there, has BP, pulling away and holding comfortably the lead. But I'm sure things are going to get a bit more mixed up again when we see this track start drying out. And he's gone wide through Blanchimont, has Zach, and has allowed Jax to pull around the outside through here into the bus stop. Yeah, he's got that inside line, and it's pretty easily done there unforced error there from Zach JW, allowing Jax to pull through. Just going to have a look also at Twitch Liddy.
Catch up to BPV8 now. See how much time Mick can burn out of him, or whether they've got similar pace.
Yes,
Jax does have those fresher tyres, so this is basically where he would have been if he hit in the first place. So we'll see if having those fresh tyres was really worth it.
Yeah, it might not have been worth it with this track drying out now.
We'll see. We'll see. A couple of spots around still.
Twitch Liddy, very close to the back of Dan the Racer, coming down the Camel Straight now. Gets a nice slipstream, deploying the energy. Dan the Racer moves to hold the inside line, forcing Twitch Liddy to move around the outside of the Lacombe chicane, and Twitch Liddy just backing out a bit there as Dan the Racer sliding all over those curbs. Now through Malmedy, keeps it clean. Heading into the downhill, tricky braking zone of Rivage. And they've just settled back into that position now. Has Twitch Liddy. It's gone a little bit wide through here. And yeah, just dropped off the back of him.
Hard to combat that understeer through Brittle, especially in the wet.
Yep. With the dirty air also of the car in front, never helps.
Jax has now he's just got himself a 3-second penalty, so he's now got 6 seconds of penalty.
And we've seen he's gone round at Stavilo, has Jax. Gone round and straight into the wall. Oh, that is a real shame. And that's triggered another safety car.
He had already taken a second out of BP within half a lap. So the pace was there and he was going to be challenging for the lead.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, just pushing him maybe a bit too hard in the changeable conditions. That's a real shame for Jax. He clearly had the pace there. And I was just about to mention about Jax. You know, he has a really strong start and medium part of the race, but then he just starts to pick up. As you see a couple of cars coming into the pits. Wow.
For mediums?
Medium tyres. Yeah. Taking that gamble early, and eye contrast as well. The track doesn't look that dry to us, but I guess these guys are hoping that it'll dry out, as it's looking quite damp. Jack there, Zach's even. Yes, he's struggling in this damp condition here.
Yeah, well, they've got 3 laps probably under the safety car, so it's...
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, do you want to risk that?
In the next 3 laps, but that might be a bit ambitious, because if it doesn't, they're not going to be getting 10.
Yeah, and, you know, the chance of stacking into the wall now, as he's going nice and slowly on those medium tyres, that's a risky play there. I would not
trust in the same position. So.
Yeah, I do not envy those guys. Look sideways through the Lafania chicane, heaps of oversteer, and sort of almost drifting around that corner, taking it nice and easy.
Probably won't do too much damage to the tyres. Unlike using inters in the dry, using dries in the wet doesn't destroy them as much. They just kind of get cold and a bit. But you can nurse them back to good health, of course.
Yeah, it does seem to be rapidly driving around that part of the track, and then we hit the spray down here. It'd be really interesting to learn if that is the case for the drivers also, because I don't think we really tend to see that on this game. Different parts of the track having different sort of conditions. That's not really a thing that that's this current version of the game tends to have. So
no, we're more likely to get a driver glitch where different drivers have different conditions.
Yeah, that's exactly that, more likely. But yeah, as you see more spray coming around the back straight also. So yeah, different conditions around the track. There's a couple of the drivers have also committed to the medium tyre of Dan the Racer and Future Dreamliner.
They don't have too much to lose at the back there, so...
Yeah, a worthwhile gamble.
Made that decision. I don't know if it's ready to pay off. It probably feels pretty good in Sector 1. This looks like it's...
we see the Scotty coming into the pit lane. He's decided to change also. It is probably starting to seem more like worth a gamble, even though it's going to push him to the back of the pack now as it's closed up. If those boys have to pit on the inters 1 or 2 laps in, If once we get this race going again, then that's gonna push them all the way to the back. So it might, even at this late stage, Scotty choosing to go to the soft tire. That'll help on the warm up.
It'll make it to the end as well.
Indeed.
It'll be a push, but it'll make it.
Still looks pretty wet there. At least to get a good read for the conditions. That looked a lot better than it did when Zach came out on his medium tire.
Yeah, got to be confident to do it, but this could be throwing a spanner in the works for someone like BP at the front. You know, he's led the race the whole time and has made all of the right decisions, and then something like this just throws a spanner at it, and you have to decide: do you want to cover that, or are you sure about where you're at the moment?
And I saw a little bit of blue sky peeking through the clouds there, so I'm sure the track will start now drying rapidly, and it does. It's quite hard to tell if it's dry with how shiny it is, but it is looking a lot better in this sector of in this section of the track. Let's
see how it looks when we go down the hill again, where it normally gets quite wet. If it doesn't have spray here.
Well, there's no spray, so
yeah, it's drying.
So that those
again. Hopefully I assume the safety car won't wait for him.
No, it shouldn't do, and I believe it'll be coming in this lap. We've had two laps now into the safety car. These guys on the Inters now are in a bit of a pickle, and seeing if I can read those numbers. They don't look too high, but they are cruising around. Looks like about 70 degrees, something like that. But yes, so we can cheer for Tinsel for iPro, but I think he's gonna, along with the rest of the Inter runners, they're gonna be in a bit of trouble here as to whether they dive in the pits straight away or they try and hang it out for a bit longer. But I think you're gonna want to come in ASAP.
Here. It's still raining here. This is the only part of the track that it seems to still be raining.
Raining? Are you sure?
Yep. There's drops on the screen.
I think they just cleared then.
Well, they're gone.
Yes, they've come. They've dived.
And Zach takes the lead.
That has given Zach the lead. Eye contrast.
Another lap of the safety car. I'd actually forgotten about that.
Yeah, so that's lucky for them. That was the last chance for them to come through, and it is very lucky that they've come in now and changed, because it would have been just, yeah, it's looking very dry now, and I think we're going to see this to the end of the race. Everybody choosing to go onto that soft tyre. There's going to be another strategy play here between the medium runners and the soft runners. Medium runners, obviously, no problems will be able to make it to the end. I reckon the soft runners will also be able to make it to the end without too much of an issue, but it'll be what their pace is like at the end of the race.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Scotty, the front runner on the side there, but shout out to Dan the racer. He's been in the wars and has to a net P3, and a really magnificent effort there.
Yep, the correct strategy call there at the right part has really moved him up through the pack. He's slightly, I'd say, slightly out of position there with some of the guys such as Scotty and BP, the championship leaders, especially on the soft tyre. He's going to have his work cut out for them on this restart.
Yeah, I contrast to be wanting to push and see if he can take the lead. He's also been in the wars during this race. A couple of unlucky strategy decisions this week and last week, so...
Yeah.
Currently leading the championship and currently leading the race amongst his championship rivals, with Plevs DNFing and Scotty 2 places behind.
Yeah, Scotty's going to pick up, if he can keep this clean, he's going to pick up some good points today with here to keep him in touch with the championship leaders. Yes. Vital points. But yeah, I would think that the soft runners are going to have the very strong advantage now, and you should be able to nurse those all the way to the end without too much of an issue. Also, Future Dreamliner's almost caught up to the back of the pack. I reckon he will catch the pack before this race gets going again. Great
news for him. He had made a few not great calls at the end there, but he's been able to get right back into it.
Safety car is calling in this lap.
He's definitely catching up. It's almost there.
Yeah, I think he'll be right.
Working through those medium tyres. Good thing he went to medium, because he's had to push the last 2 laps to catch up.
Yeah, well, they'll be nice and warm, ready for the restart now, if he's had to...
True. And here he comes right up to the back of the pack now.
Perfect timing for him.
So we'll see if Future Dreamliner has excellent temperature, and see if how that goes with the soft runners. ahead of him. And will Scotty make a move at the start on this restart?
Yeah, he's going to want to get past down the race as soon as possible and then start challenging for the lead. I think Zach has already gone, and it's...
Yep, he's away.
It's caught down the racer, very off guard. Scotty looking around the outside of LaSource, and down the racer seems to just concede the position into LaSource, which is absolutely perfect for Scotty. And we've got Tinselman all over the back of... Are we going to see him move? No, he backs out of that. I was going to say we're going to see him move up through Eau Rouge here on these two. That would have been amazing to see. But he backs out, and he's going to sit into the slipstream. Yep, but BP is going to have the slipstream of the car in front there. Scotty very close to the back of Eye Contrast there, but those guys keeping... Oh, he's just misjudged the braking zone. Has Tinselman gone straight into the back of BP. I wouldn't surprise if he's picked up damage from that. Twitch Liddy comes through, and there's a few time penalties kicking around. Oh, yeah, and he's dropping another Snickers Bud, having a look down the inside of Rivage. And he's...
but he might have a little bit of shredding on the top.
Yeah, I would imagine. Oh, he's gone straight into the wall as Tinselman. He must have had more damage than we thought. Just gone straight in at Bruxelles. And now he certainly has damage. Lost his front wing. That has been a disastrous restart for him.
Oh, wow. He's lucky that he's been able to keep the car out of
I'm amazed that that car kept going through that section. He went straight into the barriers there, the tyre barrier. He's barely struggling to keep that on track. He's going to struggle to keep this going. There's still a bit of time left in this race. It's not all over for the Tinselman, but it certainly is not good.
It's got all three of them making a move down.
Blanchimont.
Tinselman is retired.
I presume he's gone into the wall there.
Scotty has taken Eye Contrast. He goes down the inside, but inside becomes outside. Eye Contrast will probably have the grip here. Or not.
That's soft tire. That's
soft tire.
Soft tire launch. He's going to look down the inside of LaSource. Bit of a squeeze there from Eye Contrast. Tries to get a better run, better exit on the outside, but it hasn't worked out on that medium tyre for him at all. Scotty needs to take full advantage of this soft tyre in this current stage of the race and get past these guys. A squeeze! The two cars getting very squirmy there. And yeah, it makes to take full advantage of this tyre. Yeah, that is... A bit of a squeeze down into Lacombe. He's got the inside. Eye Contrast going around the outside. It's very tricky on that chicane. And he manages to keep it going around the outside. And then through Malmedy, he's got the inside. And he's taken that position. Defended it well from Eye Contrast. Excellent racing there from Scotty holding on. Now he's going to want to eyes forward and look and try and take this position as quickly as possible off Zach JW so he can start building a gap up on this soft tyre.
That's right. The softs will feel great now. And they probably won't. So great at the end when the mediums are good, so he's got to make that pace now and can get ahead. Zach's lucky that everyone's just fighting behind him. Really, it's the only reason is to be able to not have anybody challenge for that first place.
It's also a tight middle field battle going on here between Snickersbud and My Name is Jeff, who's looking for a move down through Stavelo. Just
something to note, whether or not this will come into play, but BP's penalty was received after Tinselman did rear-end him and potentially might have pushed him across the corner. So, depending on whether or not he's in another warning, that 3-second penalty could potentially be given back. And Scotty makes it down the inside of the bus stop chicane on Zach. He's out into the lead.
There's yellow flag also down in that part of the track. Cars coming into the pits of Twitch Liddy. Maybe he has taken damage, but Scotty then taking the lead of this race. What an ideal, at the minute, ideal situation for him. That's exactly what he needs to do in this championship battle. But the cars have got DRS on him, and he's going to move right to the inside to defend this position. Zach just getting past him in the DRS zone. And that DRS came online at the wrong time for Scotty. And that move was probably should have been a bit more patient and waited for that move. And he goes down the inside of Rivage, having a little look on there on Zach. And will he keep this position? He's going to have the inside through Bruxelles is Jack. He slings it around the outside. Excellent move again from Scotty. He is on fire today, loving this track. And BP's having a look at Eye Contrast down in the background there. Backs out of it into Puon. That could have been a bit sketchy through there.
excellent racing, and BP really trying to take advantage of it. He's pushing, and he is ready to take some more positions, I believe.
Yeah, these guys are just
those medium runners.
Exactly that. They've got to try and hang in there, these medium runners. It's got a lot of using a lot of the battery. Not quite. Eye Contrast has got the slipstream from, but BP is now stuck his nose on the inside through Blanchimont. Not quite. Eye Contrast having a look on the outside.
Might have a look. Does he's a little late on the brakes, and maybe BP is actually going to pick up the
opportunistic move.
Yeah, Zach really did not win out in that battle. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, he's not. That was an opportunistic move from BP there. Excellent move. And followed Eye Contrast through on the inside through onto the bust-up chicane. And now he's going to have a look. Eye Contrast is not going to have DRS, as there's no one in front. This should be pretty easy for BP. The overspeed there, making it extremely easy. But don't forget about Zach at the back here. He also has DRS. He's not going to be close enough, though, I don't think, through this section.
All of this has really allowed Scotty to get almost a full second ahead. But BP is now going to be chasing after him on the soft tyres as well. So we'll see if he can stick with him.
Yeah, he's going to be keeping that pressure on there. Still going to be a good finish for Dan the Racer in P7. He's only got medium runners behind him, as Crazy Kiwi is not in this race at all. So he's just going to want to keep on the back of My Name is Jeff on that soft tyre, and he should be in a good position near the end of this race. So we'll just keep a half an eye on him through here, as the pack at the front has sort of, the gaps have opened up a little bit. They're still going to have DRS through the lap, but
shout out to Future Dreamliner. Kind of shows how important it is to keep going. He was almost a lap behind at stages in the race, and now has made his way up to P8 after the very safety car. So always worth staying out no matter what happens.
It is.
And trying to catch up to the putt, catch up into the points, especially when top 15 all get awarded points. But here we only have 10 left, so we'll be up to some serious points there.
BP there with the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:45.1. Yeah, and I think that's great. It's good determination there from Future Live. You should never give up. You never know what's going to happen in this crazy world of F1. It can go from, you know, losing to P1 in a matter of moments with the right conditions.
He's going for it. Oh, he's got an excellent exit there.
Scotty slips back into the slipstream there. And yeah, it's just looking, BP is very, very strong in this race at the moment. Future Dreamliner making a move on down the race again, a little bit on the grass there. And through the Camel Straight. And taking... Oh, down the racer challenging him as he goes wide. Pushing him through Rivage. I think he's caught out a little bit by the speed there difference. And he goes right around the inside. Through...
Oh, another touch.
Touch. These guys getting their elbows out, and down the racer has held onto that position around the outside of Bruxelles. Oh, he's gone. Future Dreamline's a bit all over the shop at the minute. Just needs to get it back together again, focus, and reapply the pressure on down the racer. He's looking quicker at the moment. He's already caught up that gap again. So, but the gaps at the front have now started to open up as they've settled into this race. Snickersbud and My Name is Jeff not quite having the pace to close down that gap of the front runners on the medium tyre. So,
right. But Scotty's been able to hold on to BP, but we'll see whether that's just the DRS helping him there, or whether he'll be able to make a move by the end of the Camel Straight. We are now 3/4 of the way through this Formula Endurance race, 100% race. So there's plenty of action left. A lot can happen in these last 11 laps.
Indeed, and he's just dropped out of DRS range, has Future Dreamliner. He's going to punch that ERS to try and get within that 1 second on the detection point, which I think he has gone and done now. Yep, he should be picking up the DRS now when they get to the top of the hill on the Camel Straight. And he's going to gone quite well there, picking up a 3-second penalty. These guys have got quite a few penalties now. Not an ideal part of the race to be picking them up after that safety car. He's quite far back. Is he going to look for a move here? Yes, he is down the inside of down the... He's gone and overshot a little bit there.
Yes. Luckily, Dan hasn't picked up a penalty for that. Obviously, it wasn't his fault. He had to get out of the way with Dreamliner a little too late on the brakes there with all of that speed, DRS, ERS. So, it's really understeery through that corner. Must be very annoying for the drivers. And the gap has now opened up for Scotty. He's dropped outside of the DRS range of BPVO.
Yeah, I contrast keeping that gap relatively constant at the front there. And as the laps go on, it's going a bit wide there through the exit of Pif Paf in the Fanier chicane. But I contrast, the race will slowly start coming back to him now with as that tyre difference starts to make an impact. The mediums coming into their own as the softs start to wear off. I won't be surprised if we slowly sort of see that gap keep about the same and then maybe switch around and start to drop. Future Dreamliner again has just dropped out of the DRS range, coming around the back straight and then pumping the ERS on the start-finish line to get just within that second gap. He has an excellent entry into La Source compared to Dan the Racer, and that's allowed him to sneak back in.
That's right, might be able to look at having a move on the Camel Straight. Missing that first DRS zone is not the end of the world. The important thing is that you get that second one.
He's a lot closer this
straight. He is well past.
Yeah, it was a nice clean all over that curb is down the racer, very aggressive. It's allowed him to close right up through. Oh, he gets a bit sideways through Ravage. And I think Future Dreamliner has now made... Oh, he's gone a bit deep in Ravage. But still manages to stay in front. Not much down the racer can do on this part of the track. It's very tight and twisty. He's gone into the wall down at Bruxelles, and it's allowed down the racer to come around the outside and through into Pouon. What an excellent comeback there from Dan the Racer, retaking that position off Future Dreamliner. He's going to be kicking himself for that one.
Yeah, that was a great move by Dan. It maybe even looks like Future Dreamliner is running a bit lower downforce.
Yep.
So he's got that straight line speed, and Dan's able to capitalize and stay right on the back in the rest of the sectors, and he is away after getting past. Really excellent move there, using all of the track, some of the track that isn't even the track.
They're both very low on their battery. With this fight, they've been punching it a lot, and we have seen that Dan the Racer pull away through that sector, and then as we come into this start of the lap, Future Dreamline tends to close up, although it seems to me like he's a lot closer this time because he's going to get the DRS for the first time on the start-finish straight, and he's getting closer and closer every lap.
It's really interesting there. They seem to yo-yo a lot.
Oh!
He's done.
A little bit.
Still good. No, he won't get DRS.
There he will. That's the detection point is just there as they just went past this, so he'll still have the DRS coming up here. Dan the Race has gone wide on Radion.
Oh, he's going to have some serious pace. He's going to be...
He's quite far back, though.
I know, but he was far back that first time. No, he's too far. Should have stayed in the slipstream longer.
Yeah, he's just that overdone it on that exit out of La Source there. It's super vital to get that exit nice and clean if you're going to set up that overtake.
Absolutely. It's interesting. Future Dreamliner choosing to use a couple, maybe a gear lower for a lot of corners, we would say, for the other drivers. That might be part of his setup. That is making him need to have that extra rotation on the off throttle. But yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, Dan the Race. Yeah, you can see Dan the Race has pulled away through this section as Future Dreamliner picks up another 3 second, which means that they are exactly the same on their penalties, and now they're racing for position.
Yeah,
but yes,
makes it really interesting, especially because Crazy Kiwi and Twitch, well, they're 12 seconds behind. Well, Crazy Kiwi is basically that amount of penalty behind, so it's not just them. It's Crazy Kiwi behind.
Yeah, I think we can class him as a DNF because I don't think he's been racing at all this whole race.
Sorry, I had forgotten.
Yeah, so, and then you see it yo-yoing back now towards Future Dreamliner as he comes down the straight with a bit more speed than Dan the Racer.
First gear in the bus stop. Chicane. That is, whoever thought that would be a tongue twister.
It's gonna
struggling with words. That's all right.
bit wide on LaSource this time, but he's definitely going to want to look for that clean exit, which he gets. Seems to get a lot better drive than Dan the Racer. Look at just closing that gap down now. He's going to nice and clean through here, so that he can set up this. Is very close this time with that. I don't think Dan the Racer is going to have much ERS. He's pretty much used up all of his ERS now in trying to defend this position. Future Dreamliner moving to the inside and is clear of him into the first corner, but we've seen Dan the Racer fight this position, which he does again. Goes around the inside of Lefanier and around the outside of Rivage, and lovely move from Dan the Racer there, and holds on to that position.
Pick up 3 seconds of penalties, which means he is even on penalties with BPV8 in the lead. I know we haven't touched them. So interesting, great battle we're having here. So they are racing for track position in first and second now, which means Eye Contrast is really in this.
Yeah, that penalty is going to change quite a few things for him. It's just made it a little bit easier for Eye Contrast. I think it takes a bit of pressure off him. He's the only one now in the top 5 without a penalty, and he's been very consistent all season, not picking up any penalties. As we see a yellow flag, and Twitch Liddy's gone round down at Bruxelles, but he's kept it going, which is good to see. He definitely doesn't want a DNF at this stage of the race. He'll be picking up some points if he can keep it on the track. And now, once again, Future Dreamliner within half a second coming down the back straight into the bus stop chicane on Dan the Racer. And Dan the Racer's gone round, and he's gone into him as well. Oh, that's a disaster. He's heading straight into the pit lane. I'm sure Dan the Racer will be following, but he's got in there first.
That's unfortunate for Future Dreamliner. Didn't quite react early enough and has broken part of his wing on Dan the Racer. Maybe these two will still be racing, or Dan's had to...
He's kept going. He would not have taken any damage. No,
just in the rear.
Yeah, there's the rear. I think he made contact with the rear part of his car. Obviously, Future Dreamliner using his front wing on that part of the car has come off worse, unfortunately, from Dan the Racer's mistake there.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it, really. You've just got to deal with it as it is, take it as it is. Nobody's necessarily at fault, but that is definitely unfortunate, and does mean that Dan has some... Actually, no, don't worry, because Crazy Kiwi is AI. Forget I said anything.
Well, now that that excitement is over, unfortunately for us, we will now then take a look at that Dan the Racer picking up another 3-second penalty. We'll take a look at this front battle here at the moment. We've got to keep that 3 seconds to BPV8 is what Buster says, and 100% yes we do. But those guys, he's 3 seconds behind at the minute. So they both got those penalties, so they're going to effectively cancel each other out in this battle. Eye Contrast has got to keep within 3 seconds, which shouldn't be too difficult now on these as those soft tires start to age. He's dropping, no, he's keeping it fairly consistent, and he will inherit that position off Scotty.
At this stage, yeah, absolutely. And just a reminder of the championship standings. Eye Contrast is in the lead on 104 points. Plebs in second, who DNF today on, and 38 points behind the lead is Scotty in third on 108 points. So this battle here between Scotty and Icon, very important for the championship.
Indeed. And we're halfway through the season now, and so it's going to become more and more important to really maximize those points if they're going to want to fight for those top positions on the step of the podium. It's only, not including this one, we have 7 races left in this championship.
Right. Where are we off to next week?
Well, we're off to Italy next week, the Temple of Speed, and don't we love that? Yes, we do. I'll answer that question for you. And then, your favourite track, Josh, after that, is up round 10.
Was that Singapore?
That is correct, Singapore, and I'm sure that will provide some tasty action. All those lovely walls to avoid. Yeah, it's a bit of a scary track. And then one of my favourites, Japan after that. I do love the it's a hardcore racing track, is Japan. And then after that, USA. I think that's a bit of like a Vegemite, isn't it, for some people? Some people love it and some people hate it.
Yes, absolutely. A bit like Japan. Japan can be a bit divisive. But you know, it's definitely interesting that we seem to like all the opposite tracks. I'm definitely a fan of those high downforce street circuits. Wish we had Monaco, but unfortunately not. Maybe I just like pain.
Yeah, and then after that, Mexico, Brazil, which I think a lot of people love Brazil. And then Abu Dhabi as well as one of those tracks I think a lot of people sort of sniff their nose at.
Another one I like, of course.
You do?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I think the track changes next year will be very No, hold on. They'll be there for this year, won't they, those track changes?
Yes.
I believe. Yep, so they've changed that last sector a little bit and then added that banking as well. So hopefully it will improve the track.
Yeah. Our contrast is picking up a couple of tenths here. Now, right down under the 2-second mark from Scotty, so
yeah,
Scotty's kind of dropping back from BP as well. I think that's probably BP is out of reach for our contrast, but yeah, those
you never know.
Will definitely be coming good.
Yeah, BP has been super consistent this race, which is great to see. Really putting the pressure on those championship battlers. But yeah, Scotty definitely dropping. I would say that that's probably linked with eye contrast catching up. I would say it's just generally Scotty's pace is starting to drop off a little bit. So we could see then probably not going to fight this too hard considering the penalties. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Don't tell me that's Future Dreamliner. He's gone around at the Lafanier chicane. Oh, that's a safety car. Don't we love this last lap safety car? There's going to be a sprint now for the last couple of laps. These boys, they must
try contrast.
Yeah, they must have heard us. They must have heard us, you know, start to jibber jabber about random things and thought, oh, are they getting, you know, is it getting a little bit boring? It's time to spice this up a bit with some last minute action sprint racing.
So it'll be interesting to see if anybody comes in here. I think they'll have to be honest.
I don't know. It's that safety. Look how many laps we've got left. We're only gonna have one lap under the safety car at this rate.
You don't want to be one lap on an old set of mediums, do you?
Well, or do you?
Everybody else is on softs? Maybe.
Well, if you're in BP, would you pit? You're in P1 at the minute. Are you going to pit ones if no one else pits?
You have to make the decision. Dan the Racer has been the first to dive into the pits, so that'll be interesting. It's hard. If BP pits, I think everyone will.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll just depend on what he does. But this is great for eye contrast, and it shows the importance of staying penalty free because really, it doesn't matter what happens as long as you don't have penalty. There'll be a safety car, and then you.
Yeah, they've only got the 3 seconds there. Zach is going to be in a bit of trouble with his 6-second penalty. And obviously Dan the Racer with his 15 seconds, that's most likely going to put him straight to the back of the pack, unfortunately. It's still P9, so it's a decent finish for him. But,
Crazy Kiwi will be disqualified for not actually being here. So,
yeah, true.
Great finish.
Yes, and Dan the Racer...
Eye contrast stays out.
Yeah, unsurprisingly. On the medium tyres, they're still going to be quite fresh, I would say.
They are, but he is going to have to defend like crazy.
Yeah, but we did reckon that
he holds them off for long enough, he doesn't have the penalties, so he just needs to stick with them, really. Hold them up.
Well, exactly, yep.
But everybody around him is going to be on fresh softs, so... BP has just got... oh no, don't worry. That was just neat.
We know that... or we believe that eye contrast is running that sort of skinnier rear wing, so that should help him in terms of defending that position.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So it's all ended up being worthwhile. So we did talk at the start of the race about the potential of having a dry then wet then dry session, and look what we've had.
Don't you love it? That's really makes things extra exciting for us.
Absolutely. This is our 4th safety car or 3rd safety car, one of those two. Not that the safety car is the most exciting thing, but it can together.
Yep. Yeah, just as we thought this race was getting unexciting. So stick around, folks, because this is going to be a spicy, spicy final showdown.
My name is Jeff. Is potentially looking at his highest finish, I believe.
Yeah, and
with no penalties so far.
No penalties. Yeah.
There are a couple of people ahead of him with quite a few more penalties. So, fresh softs as well. My name is Jeff. Could be looking at 4th or 5th here.
He could do well indeed. He could be looking at even higher potentially.
Yeah, it would depend on the pace at the end, of course.
Yeah.
That was one way to go wide and potentially get a penalty just there, but the most demoralising of things, getting a penalty whilst it's a safety car. Ooh.
As Snickers Bud's gone
a little wide.
Yeah, they should be able to catch up. I think the rest of the pack should be able to catch up, close in with plenty of time to go.
I believe there'll be another lap.
Yeah, there'll be another lap.
We'll see.
Which
Sometimes
means
it comes in quickly, but not always.
Which means that we will have two full racing laps. There'll be no DRS. And there'll be a straight... Everyone will have recharged their batteries, and yeah, it'll be a straight fight to the end. Look at these couple of position changes here. Snickers, but up 10 positions from the start. He's had an absolute fantastic race in that Ferrari. So shout out to him. Also, my name is Jeff. So, yep, they're all on the... Actually, Twitch Liddy just chosen not to pit, which is quite interesting. He's but they're only 3-lap-old soft tyres, so...
Either that or he's pitted quite a few times with those wing changes and he's pitted onto...
yep, true.
But 3-lap-old, 1-lap-old, what's the difference? Won't make too much of a difference, really.
Yep, so pretty sure the safety car will be coming in this lap. All those boys wanting to get some temperature into their tyres. I wonder if we can sneak a snapshot in of eye contrasts tyre temperatures.
And
I'm going to go with 70.
Looks like
80.
70s, which is
yeah.
a bit low.
Still plenty of time to warm up these his tyres, especially through this middle part of the lap. Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster race, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Dry.
In all of the best of the ways.
Eau Rouge claiming quite a few victims today, but also down at the Fanier chicane and Stavlo also. We've lost 7 of our drivers today. Honest Crook, Rip the Beans, Plevs, Alex Pato, Oz Formula, formerly Jax, Formula, oh my god. Let's just gloss over that. The Tinsel Man 25, what a shame. And just now Future Dreamliner, which is a real shame for him. He was running absolutely excellently up there. But I'm sure the safety car will be coming in this lap. These guys weaving, getting temperature into these tyres now.
If eye contrast can hold them off for the first straight, he should be able to hold them until the second lap, and then probably will lose to
yeah, confirmation.
Really interesting stuff, especially with BPV8. He can't defend too hard and lose, 2 at once. Like, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we've seen some excellent racing from Scotty on these restarts as well, so he's going to be one to watch. Yeah, his restarts have been on point so far this race. But BP very strong, so I'm sure he'll be defending that pretty hard. I think BP... Well, I was going to say he might be looking behind, but actually I feel like he'll be looking forwards. He'll want to get past eye contrast and make those 3 seconds up as soon as possible and hope that Scotty fights him. And it looks like eye contrast has gone through this chicane. BP having staying very close to him. And Scotty lost out a little bit through there. He's not going to look through the hairpin, and I think he'll just sort of Look at this opportunity. He's already having a look through here before, just putting a little bit of pressure, letting him know that he's there, hoping that he's going to make a mistake through Eau Rouge and Radion. Already Eye Contrast going defensive on the right-hand side there. He's moved across in front. Yeah, he's moved across too early. And just does not have the speed to get past him. He's going to look around the outside, not quite, chooses to back out of it. Probably the smarter move. Scotty has pulled up on the back. Yeah, it really is. He's looking for a move on Rivage. He snuck his nose in, a very late move there, and gets past him. Excellent with those soft tires having that great grip, and Scotty's going to want to take full advantage as soon as possible and get past Eye Contrast. And BP is going to look to make up that 3 seconds penalty in the 1.5 laps left that we have. He's already looking all over the back of him. He's going to look for an oh no! Contact with Eye Contrast and Scotty. I'm not sure that Eye Contrast quite gave Scotty enough space there, coming into Piff Paff. And oh, that is a disaster for Scotty on this last lap, straight to the back of the pack. He is not going to be happy about that move there. And Snickersbud, what's happened to him? He's dropped a few positions too. And there's a battle going up just ahead down the race. And My Name is Jeff side by side, almost through Blanchimont. Snickersbud slowed right down. What's happening here?
Looks like he's got some damage. Must do. Yeah, left.
End plate there.
End plate,
I
yeah.
doubt he's going to pit with one lap.
Within 1.3, is he going to stay there? Yeah.
Just
in case somebody else has a spin.
Yeah, we're going to watch that delta very closely. He's got 1.3 seconds to gain. Down the racer, having a look. Look at excellent exit through there. Down the race on My Name is Jeff, getting past him even before they go up the hill. But will My Name is Jeff have a look up through here? He's going to have the slipstream. Maybe that move was a bit too early. And he's deploying his battery. They've all got plenty of battery. Down the racer, choosing to stick to the outside of the track, giving Jeff the inside. And he goes straight through down the racer. Oh, he's gone right off there. That's a terrible. It's all happening in the last couple of laps. Down the racer, dropping past Twitch Liddy is all over the back. He's just the gap at the front there. Touch upon that. 8.8 of a second he's going to make in this last sector and a half.
Yeah, I feel like my name is Jeff. May not outbreak himself a little bit with that extra pace on the letting enough room, but we'll see what the stewards have to say about that one. And if we look at the lead, 2.5
half a second.
5 seconds. Half
a
a second
seconds.
deciding this race with the 3 seconds of penalties for BP.
He's 3/10 now, down to 2/10. Down to 2/10 as they're coming around the final couple of corners. We're gonna keep an eye on this battle here, see if there's a late move, but we are gonna watch that delta with an eagle eye as they're coming around the bus stop chicane now. It could all come down to the exit of the bus stop chicane. Eye Contrast has gained through that, but the exit has been really good for BP, just making that 3 second gap, and he holds on to the lead by just under a tenth of Eye Contrast. There's a few position changes now due to the penalties as they sort themselves out. But yes, BP taking that win at Spa. Eye Contrast in P2 by the merest of margins.
Yeah, really great racing there. That came right for P1. Eye Contrast will still be really happy though, as he furthers the championship lead. Scotty lost out in that battle on the second to last lap.
Driver of the day to My Name is Jeff there. Wow, that was almost... that happened... he's throwing copies of game out to everybody. Oh, yes. Free copies of the game.
The best
if you haven't... Exactly. If you haven't quite got your copy, just jump in the crowd there and grab it. But that happened last race as well. Eye Contrast trying to get in that last with the penalties, trying to squeeze in and take that position right on the last corner. My Name is Jeff, P3. What an excellent drive from him. Penalty 3 has moved him up through the positions with that last safety car. Excellent podium from him. Zach JW there in P4. Crazy Kiwi, who I believe is not in this race, so we'll go with Twitch Liddy there. Scotty, unfortunately, with that last lap contact down in P7, real shame for him. Same with Snickers, but also down in P8. Down the Racer, same with him on that contact on that restart in P9. And that's our grid. Only 9 drivers, unfortunately. Future Dreamliner, the Tinselman, Jax, Alex Pato, Plebs, Rip the Beans, and Honest Crook not finishing this race. What a finale. Woo! For this end of the race. We always get that, don't we? That last lap safety car. Just for a bit of spice for the end of the race. It's like they do it on purpose for us.
Absolutely. 2 hours of action there. That was really, really excellent racing.
Oh, yes. And it's a great track for that. So thanks for sticking with us to the end there, everyone. Thanks everyone in the chat. And we'll see you next week in Italy. That's been Josh and me, Black Moon, in the Combox. And we'll see you next time.
Catch you later.